And we are live. Welcome, Crypto Warriors, to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 601. Today is Tuesday, September 29th, and I'm your host, Bitcoin Zay, here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community, Monday through Friday at 10ish. And I have some great news stories for you today. Starting with the top story, Coinbase has drawn a line in the sand for its activist employees. Could tax-free Bitcoin be one of 2020's hottest trends? Gemini Crypto Exchange adds shielded withdrawals for privacy coin Zcash. And last but not least, Venezuela sees its first Blockstream Bitcoin satellite node. Some big news there. So before we get into that, let's talk about some of the market updates. These prices right now, as you can see, like we said yesterday, pretty flat. Nothing really big going on. Bitcoin right now is at $10,693, down 1.8%. Ethereum at $354 is down 2.8%. Litecoin at $45.24 is down 3%. Ripple still right under a quarter is down 2.5%. Bcash at $226 is down 2.7%, and EOS at 258 is down 1.3%. So mix of green and red this week. Green yesterday, red today. Don't see much happening with the price. A lot of people waiting for a drop. Others thinking it may flip 13K. So one of the things we need to discuss with prices as well is during this season of election, most of the price action is politically based. A lot more politics going on with the Bitcoin price. So stay solid and basically keep holding. And let's see here who we got in the chat. Nobody jumping in the chat yet, but let's get it. So Coinbase has drawn a line in the sand for its activist employees. Oh man. So Brian Armstrong's kind of under fire this morning. He took a strong stance against employee-driven corporate activism over the weekend, saying that his company will be mission-focused. It also states that Coinbase will devote all of its attention to achieving the goal of creating infrastructure for the crypto economy, but will kind of push off any kind of activism or stand on policy or societal issues that go beyond that mission. So some people are coming, saying Brian Armstrong is not being, nice enough about the situation, telling employees to do activism on their own time. As a business owner, I see it two ways. For one, being a black man, activism is something that is prevalent at this time in our history, but it's not something that is necessarily needed in the workplace. If you work for somebody, you have to listen to their rules. So I would say, from my standpoint, activism wouldn't be that big a deal if you were my employee. But let's say you were like a religious zealot or something like that, and you went constantly on and on about how we should join your religion, or if you, I don't know, it just different things different CEOs see. But if activism isn't something he wants to see at Coinbase, I sort of understand, but at the same time, it may have just been bad timing for him to say that. Right here it states that by sharing his position publicly, Armstrong obviously hopes it resonates and catches on, lighting the spark of some kind of backlash to the cultural moment. And likely, Armstrong thinks it's pretty much right to do this. No CEOs responded to his posts, or barely any did. But I think Coinbase has been under fire enough. I mean, we've talked about it plenty. Get your coins off of Coinbase. Don't keep your any type of crypto on there if you don't have to. But this is sort of just another nail in the coffin that I think will keep people away from Coinbase. So Brian Armstrong got a lot to explain, but I don't see this really being a big deal. It's sort of a story just because it's a light day. But however, when you tell people to be activists on their own time, that may rub some people the wrong way. Some people may end up leaving, some may not. So we'll see how that story plays out. Next, we have, could tax-free Bitcoin be one of 2020's hottest trends? Wanted to throw this story on there simply because there is a new company called I Trust Capital. They allow you to gain exposure to the world's biggest cryptocurrency, as they describe it, Bitcoin, through a self-directed individual retirement account, otherwise known as an IRA. So for my hardened crypto people, they're like, all right, well, I could just buy Bitcoin and hold it myself. But one reason that I brought this up is that even if you are a hardened crypto person, there will always be people who need these services. Whether you like it or not, some people don't want to be responsible for their own keys. Some people do not want to have to store it. So one of the biggest things with this IRA is it'll also decrease your tax burden. So if you're talking about institutional investment, from mainly older thinking people who want to have some sort of established IRA. iTrust Capital says they have tax-free options. And as more investors, as they say, begin to explore what Bitcoin has to offer, they have comparable advantages in investing in crypto, but without much hassle. So the custody and security is through Curve, who describes themselves as a business that sets the standard for digital asset security. But again, you have to trust a third party. This is sort of what Bitcoin is moving away from. However, the bridge to that time period where people are technologically able to take care of themselves or be sovereign with their own money is going to take different companies like this. So again, I Trust Capital, they have a tax-free model, and they've even stated here they expect to see $1.5 trillion of capital moving into this new asset class within 5 to 7 years. So good news for the bulls, for people who think the price of Bitcoin will increase dramatically. Hey, what's going on, Leroy? Glad to have you in there. So yeah, I Trust Capital again is the name. And if you want to explore IRAs, or if you have somebody in your family who asks about it, or people like myself who educate people, like to stay up on this, this is one way to get that institutional investor money flowing. So moving forward, Gemini crypto exchange adds shielded withdrawals for privacy coin Zcash. So Zcash is one of the major privacy tokens. They have added their support so that you can withdraw and you can hide your transaction data. Now, how private is it? I don't know. Simply because even if it hides your transaction data, the fact that you sent it from Gemini to some address, that offboarding aspect of it, they can still basically see how much you have. According to Gemini, though, they said the exchange will store Zcash and T addresses, and in order to complete a withdrawal, you can use your Z address, which is just your private address. Some people are already able to do it, and they did not specify whether the exchange received any special regulatory approvals, which is actually good to see because, I mean, it's at this point in crypto, I think a lot of these regulators are overstepping their boundaries. You can't just walk up and say, hey, this software that allows you to do transactions, yeah, we want a piece of that. So, unfortunately, that does happen. But, with Zcash, I think privacy, if you want privacy, you should be able to have it. However, I still think Monero is probably a better privacy coin, not as much exchange, activity, because again, if you go through exchanges, they can track what you're doing and they can see how much money you spent to buy that Zcash. So if you move $1 million in Zcash privately, I'm pretty sure chain analysis or some of these well alert type, trackers could probably find out where you sent it. But this is good for Gemini. Gives them, more aspects to the exchange and can help with what I would say is mostly private transactions. So let's see who else we got in the chat here. Mark One, greetings, brother. Thanks for the updates. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you as well. Let's see, Web Surfer Guy, thoughts on DeFi projects like Yearn Finance. So one thing I have explored is DeFi, but I explored DeFi starting back in December of 2018. First started looking at it, and one of the things that I saw with DeFi is an opportunity for people to have a decentralized way to enter finance. The problem is a few things. You have pump and dumps, speculatory, like investors who jump into the market. So at the beginning of DeFi, you will have this speculation on stuff that may or may not have any value. As far as the money made from it, kudos to everybody who caught in on that wave. However, one of the DeFi projects I looked at was Metronome. I looked at some of the lending platforms. I think it has a chance to make a big impact in the future. With people, I mean, it's not all there yet. You have some centralization with the hacker who stole from KuCoin, trying to move to decentralized exchanges, them freezing the funds. You also have sort of this yo-yo price with Yearn Finance in particular. Looking at the charts right now. We had it's down 18% in 24 hours. So very, very volatile. What I will say is volatility is good if you know what you're doing. It's not if you don't. So because Yearn has a small supply and it's mostly circulating, I can see why that price would look like that. However, chart's not looking good right now as far as price. As far as use case, I am not familiar with it, so I will not go into that. However, with DeFi, you have to understand it's early. It's still early. A lot of these projects are just in price discovery. They are promising things that they may or may not have done yet. Some like MakerDAO, some of the other ones, Wrap Bitcoin, I've seen some of the projects they're working on. So pretty solid there, but DeFi is still very early. Let's see, Mark one, do you know about kitten finance? If so, what are your thoughts? No, I do not know about kitten finance. Not familiar with Sushi Swap. Some of these newer protocols that are coming out, it's just ICOs all over again, just in a new way. And in my opinion, if you get into that market, you have to be careful because you can 10x, 20x your money. You can also get your lunch taken as well. So Sabotage, yo, gents, yeah, what's up, brother? Glad you could join in on the stream today. Just some quick news stories. So we'll get into our last news story here. Venezuela. Oh, before we do that, I think Web Surfer guy, I agree. There are a lot of scams and DeFi rug pulls where the dev takes your money and splits. Again, history does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And the same ICO people, I'm pretty sure, that made their quick money and got out, did the same rug pull with DeFi. They saw a hot market. They put up some products, got some quick gains with, whatever, some fake liquidity. And if you remember, there was one ICO where the dude he took like 2 million, and then the website just said penis on it. Like these are the type of projects that when I tell you it's very early, you're talking about young kids, developers, people who don't have a real big interest in crypto as like a movement. They're more of like, oh, let me make some quick money and get out the game. Nothing wrong with that. It's just if you are one of those people thinking long term, don't get your lunch taken in 2020 when you still got decades of time for this market to mature. Let's see, Sergeant Crypto, what's up? What's up? Good to see you, brother. Lisa Lee, how's a Bitcoin and altcoins value is based on the dollar? Is there really an exodus from the control of the dollar? What are your thoughts? First and foremost, that is a big misconception with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The value given to it in dollars is only because of the market price for it. If you look at how much Bitcoin is worth, because it's deflationary over time and network effect, Bitcoin is actually showing you how weak the dollar is getting. And the weaker the dollar gets, the stronger Bitcoin gets, simply because Bitcoin is scarce. So if you only have a certain amount of Bitcoin and the value from that is derived from the demand, as more people move their fiat into Bitcoin and less people want to use it, the value of the dollar goes down, and inflation is going to take care of that as well. So if you don't think of it in price of dollars, you can think of it in rubles, you can think of it in euro, whatever fiat currency you want. Think of Bitcoin's value as what percentage of 21 million do you have? Instead of putting it, that's why you see people say stack sats, don't worry about the price, attain as much Bitcoin as possible, because if there's only 21 million, what percentage of that 21 million do you have? I know, Grayscale, I believe they have like 2.4% of the entire Bitcoin supply, which is like 18.5 million. So that is what you should be valuing Bitcoin. What percentage of this asset do I have? So that's my thoughts on that. And the control of the dollar, honestly, the value of it, let's say Bitcoin's worth $1 million. That means the dollar is super weak and nobody wants to use it. And at that point, I think that's when you'll see the change in how digital money is perceived and how goods can be produced. Because at that point, you can produce more goods for a cheaper price, and you can have not a utopia, but basically everybody can get what they need. So I think that's very possible with Bitcoin. Last but not least, Venezuela sees its first Blockstream Bitcoin satellite node. Oh yeah, I gotta give a hand for that. Shout out to Blockstream. They might be the feds, who knows? But I do like technology, so it is interesting to see that if they were able to have satellite broadcast Bitcoin transactions, you literally can't stop Bitcoin. I've seen mesh networks. I've seen the satellites being able to be used. I've seen Bitcoin being tested with Bluetooth payments. All of these different ways. You don't have to have internet. So it says here, a Bitcoin services startup in South America just launched the first Bitcoin node connected to the Blockstream satellite network within Venezuela. According to a blog post from startup Crypto Buyer, the launch of the node will keep the Bitcoin blockchain updated for Venezuela users without being dependent on a local internet connection. Again, people who talk about technology, when they say the internet's controlled by evil people, that they are watching you as data surveillance, that is absolutely true. We all know this. Your technology is watching you. However, when you start to look at these different areas where you can still use Bitcoin without the internet, that argument goes away. I get that question all the time. Oh, well, what if internet goes away? Well, for one, you're gonna have a bigger problem than Bitcoin. But for two, Bitcoin blockchain can still be updated on these satellites. So they quote here, having a 24/7, always available digital money system independent of local internet infrastructure is now a reality. Think about how big that is, people. We can send money and value without the internet to people across the world. That's crazy. I mean, sending messages is one thing, but sending money and being able to transact without a third party necessarily. I mean, Blockstream is this third party, but they don't interfere. Not yet. I haven't seen it, but they don't interfere with transactions. So um, they said the node has the ability to offer real and tangible products that solve real world problems. So that's what gets, this is the type of news that gets me excited about the market. The fact that we can transact value without anybody else's permission and nobody can stop it. That when I tell people nobody can stop it, they look at me crazy because again, this is a 11-year-old market. Nobody's ever even heard of this, couldn't fathom it. But I had a vision. A lot of people in Bitcoin had a vision to see that Bitcoin would be able to be transacted as it wanted. So we're getting there, people. And I think Venezuela's their situation, it can happen in America at a certain point. We're not immune to our, democracy going away or whatever. This isn't even really democracy, a republic going away, and our dollars being devalued. It's happening as we speak. So if you need a backup, if you need a plan B, that's Bitcoin for you. So Lisa Lee, okay, great, thank you. Oh yeah, so from the answer to the question earlier, Cryptonomics was good. How you doing, brother? Web Surfer Guy, thanks for the tip, $5 tip. Thanks for keeping us informed. Have a great day. I appreciate you, my brother. So Movid, good to see you again. Yep, glad to be back. Had to take a little bit of time to get straight between moving, having a child, writing a book, starting a new business, and being a board member of a new 501c3. Been a little busy, so still got to keep it going with the gentleman of crypto. Let's see, Harold George. That's a smart way to work around the sanctions. Exactly. I want people to realize that sanctions are reactionary. The Blockstream satellites that are broadcasting these transactions, I think by the time they even get to maybe sanctioning those type of transactions, 2-3 years down the line, it'll be too late. Then there'll be some other way that you can transact. Maybe mesh networks to take off. Maybe radio waves. I've seen that even written in a white paper. So, I mean, you can't stop Bitcoin. Once people wrap their head around that, and it's the most scarce asset in the world, it's only 2.5 million left. I think hyper Bitcoinization is inevitable. So let's see. Somovid, congrats. Thank you. Thank you. Wu CE, congrats on your seed. Oh, yeah. Coming any day now. Yep. Even got the crib ready. So all set. So, yeah, that's all our news stories for today. Yesterday, check out, if you haven't already, our 600th episode yesterday. 600 episodes. If you would have told me 3 years ago we would be at 600 episodes, I said you were crazy. But yes, we're at 600 episodes. I give you the information about the new book, Bitcoin in Black America. Like I said, all 7 new chapters, 200 new Black blockchain professionals. Talk about over 40 countries. And also, if you purchase this book, which is the price set is at $99, you will have access to 3 exclusive webinars, and as well as the hardcover version. So all of that coming. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle with the idea, Proud to Pay campaign, doing something similar with this second book. So let's see, the Open Economy Initiative, what's the new business? I'll talk to you more about that, but I'll also shout that out since we got some time here. Innovative Learning. It is a 501c3 company that I am on the board now. We're starting a Bitcoin summer camp soon. We'll be looking for funding for that, as well as introducing some new concepts for remote learning. We've had these ideas for years, but my focus going forward after this book is released is on the kids, middle school, high school, college kids, because I'm looking towards the next few decades. There's some 14-year-old, like I said, I've always said, there's some 14-year-old that's going to eat our lunch. So that's what I'm focusing on, trying to make sure we have a pipeline of students who can come through in the Bitcoin and blockchain industry. And I think, the Open Economy Initiative definitely can work with you guys on that. So Sabotage, what do you think of Cardano's long-term viability and growth trajectory? That's one of the coins I haven't checked out a lot, not recently. As far as long-term viability, the fact that Cardano has a community that is pretty strong, I think long-term Bitcoin's rising tide would lift all boats. So from a price standpoint, I think it will increase long-term. However, as far as viability, I got to see more from it. I haven't really seen most projects. I got to see more from. I haven't really seen the same aspects I have with Bitcoin. So Wu CE, congrats again. Let's see. Open Economy. Yep. Sounds good. Great stuff. Thank you, man. Thank you all. So once again, those are our news stories for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.